to a planner party. How is everyone doing today? Just gonna take a second and get all set up. And let me know if you can hear me all right. I think there might be like a little bit of delay on my end or your end, so hopefully it all will work out okay. I'm just gonna wait a little bit, let a couple more people join before we jump right in. How is everyone's weather today? I have heard that there's a big snowstorm happening in some parts of the US and Canada. Does anyone have that going on? We have, it's not snowing here, but it's very, very cold. It's like -20. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's really cold. Yes, I'm also in the East Coast. It is very, very cold today. Blizzard and thunder. That's interesting. I feel like that would be a really cool thing to see. Maybe a little bit scary. Okay, so this is gonna be really just like a chill sit down and work on my planner situation. It's not going to be anything like too intense. I hope that some of you also have your planners out so we can kind of work on our planners together. I'm not entirely sure what I'm all going to work on today, but I thought I would start with showing you kind of what I've already done in my planner and kind of go from there. And then I also thought I would go through some of the supplies that I'll be using, because I always get asked that a lot. So we'll do that first. I have a ruler. This is just like a plastic 6-inch ruler. I use it all the time. It's actually starting to like get super faded, so I can't read the numbers very well, but I use that all the time. I just have a like mechanical pencil here and my favorite eraser. This is the Tombow mono eraser. Really like that one. I have my favorite black pen, which is the Pentel Energel. This is the Infree pen. I really like that one. I've also lately been using, I got this set on Amazon of these from Rytech. I think that's how you say it. I really, really like these, but if you press too hard, they will go through, or like there will be a little bit more shadowing than this pen. But these are so bold and smooth, so I do really like them. But if you have like any kind of pressure, I don't know that I would recommend them, but they are really lovely pens and they're really beautiful and like nice and smooth. So I like those. I have my favorite brush pen, which is the Tombow. I'm gonna butcher the name, so I'm not gonna try. It's just the Tombow brush pen. They have two versions. There's a hard nib and a soft nib. I prefer the hard nib, which is the like navy body pen. I really like these. I always have like 7 of them on hand because it's the pen I use the most. So that. If you have seen any of my videos before, you may be aware that I have long loved the mild liner brush highlighters. specifically the brush version. Still love them. However, this year I've been wanting to try something different because I find that these, while I love them, the brush tip doesn't last super long. And the ink doesn't last super long. I mean, I've like repeatedly bought them over the last like 5 years. So, you know, I love these. But I wanted to try something new. So I got this like giant set of Ohuhu pens. This is not the alcohol pens that everyone is obsessed over because those will just bleed right through the paper. So these are a water-based pen and it's a dual tip. They have a brush tip and a fine liner. They have like, comes in like this little kit and it has like 100 colors, which is amazing. But they look like this. And so I've been testing these out this year to replace my mild liners to see which one I like better. I love that I have 100 different colors of these to choose from. That's been really fun. I will say you can't color the same way you can with the mild liners. Mild color, I could like layer colors with the mild liners. These you can do like one coat and then any more than that and it's probably going to go through. So I do like these, but a little bit to be aware of. Yeah, these pens that I was talking about, they're all black. So yeah, they're just, I know Rytech does like colorful gel pens, so you could probably get a different set that are different colors, but these are all black just because that's my preference. Anyways, I think that's all of the supplies. Oh, I did want to show you because I feel like you guys are the only people that will actually care, but I got a Canon Ivy printer, finally. I had kind of told myself I wasn't going to buy one, but they just look like so much fun, and I have a plan for them of what to do with them besides printing book covers, so I'll show you that later, but finally got one of these. I have not used it yet, but I'm very excited, and it matches my desk mat, which is all that matters. I think that's it. So I'm just gonna kind of go through, I'll show you what I've already done in my planner so far, which is not many, but I have done a little bit just because I couldn't help myself. So I will kind of walk you through that. I am curious if any of you are working on your planners at the same time. If you are, let me know what you plan on doing. I have the, as you can see, the retro sign cover, and I'm using the vertical spread this year, which I haven't used in like 2 years, so it's been a bit of a transition for me to get back into thinking that way, but so far I've been really enjoying it. So as I said, haven't done that much, but I have filled in a couple. I'm using my dates to remember page as tracking like when books are coming out, just the ones I'm like really excited about. So I've just put a couple of those in so far. There's not that many, but just, yeah, that's it. I'll probably do nothing with this page like I do every year. I like to have it just to like kind of glance at it, but I don't really ever do anything with this. Then I have penciled in my important info and my 2025 goals page just to like kind of flush out some ideas. So I have my star rating system. I'm doing a Taylor Swift songs. I did this a couple of years ago, but now that a couple of other albums have come out, I thought I would do it again. So I have that, and I have my most anticipated books, just a couple of them, some of the same ones that were on the previous page, but I left room in case some other ones get announced that I can add more. And then I've penciled in my legend, but haven't done the colors yet. And then I penciled in my goals as well. This is a page I always do in pencil first, just because I need to get a sense of how things will lay out. So I'm pretty happy with how this is so far. So I am gonna be working on that, but I think I'm gonna save working on this for an Instagram video, just because that's something I always do as a reel. So probably won't work on that today, but I'll probably work on this a little bit. And I'm going to use the reading checklist as a log again. That's what I've been doing the last couple of years, and I really like having like the long log when I'm done. I haven't finished a book yet this year, so that's why there's nothing on it. Same with, I haven't colored in my bookshelf yet because I haven't decided quite what I want to do with it yet. I did fill in some of my book series tracker. I just brought over a couple of the series from my last year's planner that I thought I maybe could continue this year. So I didn't bring them all over because I don't know if there's a lot on there that I knew I wouldn't continue the series. So I just brought over the ones that have potential and then obviously left room to add more as the year goes on. Quotes page, I pick a quote from, if I gave the book a 4-star or a 5-star, I'll put a quote down that kind of like stood out to me. Sometimes I find them later and add them in, like it's not while I'm reading, but that's what I did last year. I think that's what I'll do this year again. Pre-orders, I need to add some books in. I've only pre-ordered 2 books this year. I'm not a big pre-order, I should say that. Like, it takes a lot for me to pre-order a book. Usually I just buy it when it comes out. But I do have 2 that I pre-ordered, so I'll add those on here at some point. I have penciled in 1 author backlist, which is Kristen Hanna. I need to figure out who else I want to add to this, so if you have any suggestions of some author backlists that I could add. I have already read through all of Taylor Jenkins Reid books, so that would have been my go-to because she's like one of my favorite authors, but I've already read them all. I did that, I think 2 years ago. I read through her entire backlist, so I need some other ones, so if you have any ideas, let me know. Oh, thank you. I have this tattoo, and then I also have, I don't know how to show it. I have this tattoo. I think those are the only ones you guys can probably see in the video, but I have 7 tattoos in total. Books to reread. I'm not sure what I want to do with this yet. I toyed around with doing like kind of pre-planning and doing like books I think I'll want to reread in this year, or if I read a good book this year and I know I want to reread it in the future, if I put it on here. So I'm not sure. Hopefully that makes sense. Playlist I'm going to do at the end of each month. Probably pick a song or album. I'm not sure yet. That kind of encapsulated that whole month for me. Movie tracker, that will be whenever I watch a movie. Same with TV. This page, last year I did my book club picks for the like book club I'm in with a couple of friends, but because I now have a book club journal, I'll probably try and use this for something else. So I'm not sure what to use this page for yet. So if anyone has any ideas, I don't do book subscription boxes, so I can't do that. I was thinking maybe my top books of the year, perhaps. Idea. 5-star reads. Last year I think I only had like 3, 4 maybe. So this year I'm hoping I can have more 5-star reads because I think I'm too strict with my 5 stars. I need to like give them out more. As I said, I haven't finished any books, so I won't have anything on my reading challenges. I do need to fill this page in, my 25 books in 2025. I went on my Instagram a couple days ago and I asked you guys for suggestions, and then I wrote down all the ones that I thought sounded interesting, as well as some ones that I just know I want to read this year. So I'm going to try and work on this page today as well. And then I need to set my goal, which is 70 books this year. Here's another page I have worked on. I set up my page tracker. So just like set my limits down here. They're very similar to what I did last year, except I just tweaked them a little bit. And then yeah, I just filled in the last 4 days, made my little banner. Oh, on the A to Z, what goes on the number? The number is just if the title has a number in it. So just any book title that has a number. Don't really need to do anything with these. I do need to set up my genres in here. And then, oh, so these are some things I've added to my planner so far. So I've added a romance bingo. If you're part of our Facebook group, someone put in, like, they made their own bingo and used my little stickers from my romance reader sticker pad. Have these like conversation hearts with the tropes on it. And I thought that was such a cute idea. So I also made my own. There were too many spaces for how many stickers I had. So there's a couple duplicates, but I picked like my two favorites tropes to do. Like there's 2 Grumpy Sunshines and there's 2 Enemies to Lovers. And that's just because I had 2 extra spaces and I thought I would read a lot of those ones. So I need to like color in the title still, but I've done this one. And then this one I'm going to do also in our Facebook group. Our other moderator, Megan, came up with this brilliant idea to do a always fully booked bingo where everyone in the group could submit in a comment like a prompt and then you can pick your prompts. And so because I had the bingo printable already, I was like, this seems like the perfect space. So I have to add in what the prompts I've picked are for that. So that has to go here. And then I have penciled in, I'm going to do something different this year, which is a genre Tetris. And I thought that this would be really fun. Every time I finish a book, I can like see how far I can get. Obviously, I don't think I'll fill the whole space if I do it like by single block because this is a giant space. But I did think it would be really fun just to kind of do it. So I have that penciled in. I need to ink it. I'm saving space for a 10 before the end, which was a spread I did in my planner last year, which is 10 books you want to read before the end of the year. But I don't usually do that until like right before the end of the year. So I'm saving space for that one. And then I also, have you guys seen where people do these like embroideries where they split it into like a pizza, basically like little triangles? And then each month they like embroider something that represents something that happened in that month. I thought that'd be really fun to do, except with all the books I read. So I want to set something up on a 2-page spread that like splits this into 12. And for every book I finish, I'll make a little doodle representing that book. I don't know if that will work out, but I thought it would be a really fun idea. So I'm saving space for that to do that here. So that's my last dot grid before we get into the month. So that is like all the things I have added. I do have a template for the bingo on my website already, and you can just like make your own. Moving into the month, I haven't done that much. I did plug in a couple things on my calendar. This is just like personal and work stuff. I have my TBR done, which I did a video on Instagram for that already. And then I've just been working on my weekly spread, been filling it as the week goes. I'm not sure if this is how it will be the whole year. I'm kind of testing out a few new things. So on the side here, I've got like my highlight, low light currently, and then my meals. And then I used to put my workout in this middle section here, but I'm trying out a new little thing at the bottom here. And I'm not sure if that part's gonna stay. And then the other side I have at the end of the week, I'll put how many pages I read and if I finished any books. That will go there. I'm not sure if this is gonna stay the way it is, but my top row is always work and the bottom row is always reading. The middle row is usually just like random, either personal or like just, random stuff. So we're gonna see. I'm gonna experiment, I think, for the next couple of weeks. I usually by mid-February, usually have a plan that I stick to, but I usually give myself January to try new things and figure out which works and what doesn't. So that's all I've done for January, is just filling in this. And then I'll show you at the back some other things that I have added in. So when we get to after the review section, there's more dot grid. So I have penciled in here. I always do a monthly sales stats for my business. So I'll like break down like each of these little sections will be a month, and I just include like pertinent information there. It's really nice for me to look back on as I do it. So I need to finish that. And then I have a whole bunch of these trackers, which I have this as a printable on my website as well. So I'm doing a health tracker just to monitor some symptoms. And then I'm doing a fitness tracker here. And I really like these because I love seeing at the end of the year, I love seeing it all like fill in. And I just love all the data that you can get for the whole year here, see if there's any like patterns or anything. So I have a whole bunch of like these for different things. So I have a health tracker and a fitness tracker. And then I have a rate my day, which I thought would be fun. And I'm doing a weather tracker just so I can see kind of what the weather has been like over the whole year. They're just kind of like silly, but I think they're going to be fun for me to fill in. And it also encourages me to like pull out my planner every day. So I really like those. And then this comes back to my Canon Ivy that I mentioned earlier, is I want to do this thing. It's going to be a like two pages full. I only have the first one penciled out, but it's called Remember This Moment, and I want to put a picture from my Canon Ivy of something that happened that month that was just like really cool or really exciting, or something I want to like look back on at the end of the year, and each month will have its own picture. So yeah, I thought that would be really fun. So I'm gonna make 2 of those. Do that. And then the only other thing I have my folder at the back here with some stickers. The only other thing I did was at the very back, the last page, I put a like basically a color chart for like each month. I've picked a color that I will use that represents that month, and I've written down like which marker it is so that I can like look back and remember. And then same with like the genres that will be in my legend. I've like picked them out already. And then all of the trackers that I just showed you, I've written down all the markers that I use per tracker so that I can remember which one, because I'm using a pack of 100 colors. I just want it to be clear which color is which. So I have that as a reference at the very end. So that is everything I've done so far. So now we can kind of get to work and do some things. So I'm going to work on this page just to start things off. Can you give some tips for making the wood grain on the bookshelf page? Doesn't have to be today. Yes. Again, when I was thinking of maybe doing, I would like to keep doing lives working on my planner, because the most common thing I hear is that like people start off really strong using their planner because it's a new year, you have a new planner, you're really excited for it. But as the year goes on, like life happens and your planner kind of can fall to the side sometimes. So my thought was like maybe once a month I can do these lives and we can all kind of commit to like working on our planners together, whether you're doing like a catch up or whether you're just like working on it that day. I just thought it might be like a little bit more encouraging for people to like stick with their planner longer. So in a future one, I can work on the bookshelf page and show you kind of what I do. I have seen on the Facebook group this year, some people have found a wood grain washi tape that they've been using, and it looks really good too. So if you don't feel like coloring, you could always go that option as well. But if you want tips for the coloring, I've done that before, I think on previous Plan With Me videos, but I can definitely do it again because I think it's a lot easier than it looks. So yeah, I will definitely do the bookshelf page at one point. So what star rating system did you guys pick? I think that might be my favorite thing that has happened with the creation of the planner, is that I think it was just randomly one year, someone in the Facebook group like decided to use like a TV show or a movie or something. I can't even remember who the first person was that did it. And now every year we get all these like really amazing ones. And it's my favorite part, is looking back at like all the fun ones that you guys come up with. And it's just so fun to like have the pop culture reference. I saw one the other day that was a Twilight one, and they had, "This is the skin of a killer, Bella," and it made me laugh out loud. I had it here as 1 star as well. Like there was no other option. It has to be that one. It's always also interesting to me like what people rate as their star ratings, because like for me, some people think like 3 stars is a really bad rating, and for me like 3 stars is like it was good but it wasn't maybe great. So it's always interesting to me like how people differentiate. Like some people like 3 stars is like basically their 1 star. So yeah, but I would really love this year. I think I've been a little too strict with my star ratings lately and barely give out 5 stars. So I think I need to like try and do a little bit better for that. Oh, Schitt's Creek would be a good one. There's so many good quotes for that one. 1 star, I forgot that you existed. That's also a good one. I think I may have done that one previously. I can't remember now. I think last year, I think maybe I did Noah Kahan. The reason my 5 star, I know there's better like 5 star titles, but as I was saying, I'm like super stingy with giving out 5 stars, so I decided to go with the lucky one because it's like such a rare thing for me to do. Is it over now? That's also a really good one. I don't know if anyone is here that was part of my live. I did a live on Instagram last year, and because of where I had my camera, I couldn't read the comments all the time. So this year we switched over to YouTube. A, because they make it easier for me to save it, and also because now I can have my like computers like right in front of me, so I can read the chat there because it's not on my phone. So it makes it a little bit easier to interact with you guys. Oh, Aerosmith songs. I haven't seen that one before. That would be a fun one too. Pride and Prejudice movie quotes. That would be a good one. Oh, I love that you're doing Wonderland because it was your surprise song. That's so good. I went to Vancouver Night 2. It was the best experience of my life, I think. And because I went so late in the year, I was like convinced I wasn't going to get one of my top songs, which was Maroon, because she'd done it so many times. Like I think she did that song like 10 times, and I was like, there's no way she's going to do it again. And then she did, and I was like freaking out because I didn't think that I had any chance of getting it, but so good. I still relive that moment. Do you have any recommendations for how to learn how to write? Go slow and focus on drawing the letter versus writing the letter. Like learn the letter shapes, and it's honestly just about practice. So it's just yeah, like it's all about repetition, muscle memory. You can get like some worksheets. I think there's a bunch on like Pinterest. Even I think there's like videos on YouTube with like tips and tricks. But if you want to like practice your handwriting, I think there's a lot of like practice sheets you can get that will help. And then, yeah, it's just like repetition. When I was first learning to do like brush lettering, like I did up here, I would fill like notebook pages full of just the same thing over and over again to like get the muscle memory going. And yeah, it's just, yeah, muscle memory is like the best thing, I think. I think anyone can learn to improve their handwriting if they want to put the like time in. Even still, I get told that I have nice handwriting like all the time, but my like actual handwriting, like just if I'm writing like a normal list, is not very nice. But it's just when I'm being intentional and like taking the time to think about what I'm doing that it's a little bit nicer. I switched to the Le Pen, if anyone is wondering. It's like a fine liner. Just because I find it's easier to go over pencil with it. As I'm filling out my most anticipated books of the year, what are some of your most anticipated books? Obviously, Onyx Storm is a big one for me. Scythe and Sparrow. I read both Butcher and Blackbeard and Leather and Lark last year and loved them both. Check trigger warnings if you're thinking about reading them. They are very dark, but they are funny, and I really enjoyed them. The audiobooks were great. Are you excited for One Dark Window? Yes, I am very excited. I picked up my copy from the bookstore yesterday. I've not read it before, but it's been on my radar for a long time, and I kept putting it off. And finally, when it got chosen for the book club, I was actually really excited because I've been like wanting to read it for so long. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's a really good one to start the book club with. Yes, Say You'll Remember Me. That's the one I'm actually doing right now. I'm so excited for that one. I love all of her books. Yes, I'm also excited for the new Ali Hazelwood book. I think that will be a really fun one. What else have I missed here? Dream On, Ramona Riley. I haven't heard of that, but I do like her other books, so I'll have to add that one too. Sunrise on the Reaping. I haven't kept up with those books. Someone tell me if they're worth my time, because I'm like so nervous to ruin a really great trilogy. I haven't read any of the new books because I just like feel like sometimes I don't like when authors like come back and add to a series that I think should just be like, you know, done. So someone tell me if it's like actually worth it. I did watch the movie when I was on a flight from Toronto to Vancouver, and I enjoyed the movie. I am missing an M. You're so right. Thank you. That's what I get for trying to do two things at once. Good thing we have whiteout. The amount of times that I do that when I'm like, I feel like it always happens when I'm doing a live stream because I have a hard time doing two things at once. Atmosphere, yes. I said it earlier, Taylor Jenkins Reid is one of my favorite authors of all time. I have read every single one of her books, and I have been patiently waiting for her to announce the new one, and as soon as it happened, I had 2 people immediately send me the link because they knew I would freak out, and I did. And I'm so excited for the synopsis of Atmosphere, the time period, the subject matter. Oh, it's gonna be, I just know it's already gonna be amazing. The black pens that I'm using. This one that I was just using is the Le Pen. It's a fine liner. Then I was using the Pentel Energel Infree and the Tombow brush pen and the hard nib are the pens that I've been using. Also, you don't need to apologize. It's totally fine to ask questions. Do I have a favorite TJR book? Evelyn Hugo will always be really special to me. I think that one I would say is like my favorite of hers. I have read it and I have also done the audiobook. Love the audiobook. It like really brought the story to life. But I do like all of her older books as well. But yeah, Evelyn Hugo would definitely be my fave. I'm curious how many of you, does anyone use pencil in their planner first? And is it like, what do you use pencil for if you do? Like, is it for everything you do, or is it just like certain pages? I only use pencil if it's something that I want to like figure out the spacing of. But on like, if I'm just filling in like regular pages, like my reading checklist, I don't use pencil first. But it has been a great addition for me, like planning things out. And I think there's been a lot of people who have told me they're like nervous to start their planner because they don't want to mess it up. And I think using pencil kind of really helps take the pressure off. But also, like, it's totally fine to make mistakes. Like, it happens. It's your planner. Like, it's not going to be perfect, but it's yours. And I think just trying to, like, ease that mindset of, like, it doesn't have to be perfect is a really good lesson to try and learn. I know it's a hard one, but that has helped me a lot. So for my legend, I'm going to do genres. I always do genres, and it works really well for me. I color code by genre in a lot of places in the planner, so I feel like it just makes sense. I've seen people do by like format or actually don't know what I've seen. So if you've done something else in your legend, let me know. I usually only have 6 genres. I've seen people have like double that. I've seen people have less than that. These are the ones that just like make sense for me. I combine fantasy and sci-fi because I don't read that much sci-fi, so to me it doesn't make sense. I don't think I read a single sci-fi book last year. And then same with like mystery and thriller, I always find is such a hard distinction to make. I don't know if that's for everybody, but it is for me. So I've combined them into one just to make it a little bit easier. And these are just the genres that I like typically read. I left room in case I do end up reading anymore, but have I seen the beautiful hard book? Yes, I have, and it is beautiful, and I love it, and I try and convince myself every time I go that I don't need it. I have heard of these erasable pens, and I have not tried them, but I know a lot of people really like them. I think I'm just really picky about pens, and I think I've built in my head that I won't like them, which isn't fair because I haven't tried them. I am going to be doing a video going over pens and supplies a little bit more. I get asked a lot about pens, so it's always hard for me because I use the same pens like for the last like 4 years, but I haven't done a video on it in a long time, so I think it's probably time to do like a little update. There we go. Yeah, it's you saying you classified the Ice Planet Barbarians as sci-fi just to add another color because you read solely romance. I have that, like I read, it's always tricky with me with like romantasy because like where do you draw which one it is, like, so I always usually go with like if it's a romantasy, I always classify it as a fantasy because it has like the fantasy element in it, and I should probably just make a category that's romantasy, but I feel like then it's always hard to, like, there's so many like blurred lines between like something could be a contemporary and have an element of romance. So I always try and pick like what is like more, like what's the most, because there's a lot of blurred lines when it comes to genres. All right, I need to get my colors out. Let's see, so we've got that one, that one, that one, that one. I'm not used to having so many options to choose from. Except now I can't find the one I'm looking for. Got that one. And that one. So if you missed it at the beginning, I'm trying a new marker out. These are the I don't know. The color markers, they are not the ever popular alcohol markers that you see all over TikTok. These are water-based because alcohol would just go straight through the paper. And I'm just testing them out this year because I wanted to try something new that had different colors than what I was previously using. And so far, I really like them. And I'm using pretty much the same color system that I used last year. And these are just the colors I think of when I think of that genre. So it makes it really easy when I'm filling in my planner to remember. What color do you guys think of when you think of fantasy? Okay. That page pretty much done for now. Can always come back to it if I want to add more books later. As I said, I'm going to do this in a separate video on Instagram because I always think it's fun to fill that in on a reel. But in case you're wondering, my word of the year is intention, and I'm going to try and read 70 books this year. I want to do 12 months of my new book club. I want to go back to YouTube, which we're already doing pretty well on that, but I'd like to be pretty consistent with it. And I want to take some time away from work because I tend to be a bit of a workaholic. So, yeah. That's pretty much. I always put my reading challenges in here, check them off if I finish them. But that's not really like at the forefront of my mind with reading. I don't really read to finish reading challenges. It's just if I happen to have a prompt that fits, then that's great. Next, I'm going to fill in my pre-orders, the 2 books that I have pre-ordered this year. See. Do you guys pre-order a lot of books or do you pre-order no books? Are you like me and only pre-order a couple? Like it's kind of hit and miss for some people. I pre-ordered Onyx Storm the day it was announced because I wanted to make sure I got the sprayed edges one since they're super popular now. And I also pre-ordered Scythe and Sparrow because I think it was on sale at one point and I didn't want to miss the deal. I still need to pre-order Atmosphere. That one will definitely be pre-ordered. Otherwise, I usually just like order it at some point. Yeah. When you say like you really only do it if you're interested in the book, otherwise you buy the ebooks first. This last year, like 2024, I read more ebooks than any other format, which is like pretty new for me. It used to be like physical books or audiobooks, but last year was like huge for ebooks for me. And I'm the same. If I really like the book, same with if I really like the audiobook, then I'll buy a physical copy of the book. But I actually haven't ordered a lot of books. Like, I went to the bookstore yesterday to buy the book club book and ended up coming home with 4 books, but they were the first books I've bought in like, I don't know, probably like 5 months or something. Because I've been using like the library a lot, and I use like Audible, and I have Kindle Unlimited, so I get a lot of books from there. And yeah, I just haven't really bought, unless it was like a title I was like super excited about. Then yeah, but Onyx Storm, I definitely wanted those sprayed edges, so made sure I did that. Work on my author backlist now. The one I think it's the only one I've written down, is Kristen Hanna. I have read a couple of her books and loved them all. So I started with The Nightingale, which is probably a lot of people's first introduction to her. I think it's like her most popular book. Loved it. Then I read The Great Alone. Loved it. And I read The Woman last year, which if you haven't read The Woman, read it. So good. And I feel like I've loved everything. Like, I think I've given all 3 of the books of hers that I have read, I've given them all 5 stars, which, as we've previously discussed, is pretty rare for me. So she is definitely one that I want to check out her backlist. She does have way more than I have down here, but I picked the ones that I was kind of like most interested in checking out because she has such a large backlist that if I like read through all these and end up liking them, I figure I can always make like a part 2 and add some of her other works. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. But I do need some other authors of backlists to read, so hit me with your suggestions. I do agree that her books have too many feels. They are, yeah, especially the ones that I listed. They're very emotional, but her writing is just so good that I just love it. Night Road is so good. I can't remember who it was now, but I saw it on my Instagram. Someone that I follow read it and like was like obsessing about it and saying how great it was. And I had never really given it a second thought, but then when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I think I need to read some of her older works. And then we got the author backlist page. I have heard that about The Four Winds. But I also just saw someone who just read it and said it was incredible. So I'm excited to see how I feel about that one. Christina Lauren, yeah, she's a really good one too. Although I think I've read like almost all of Christina Lauren's books. Maybe not some of their like super old ones. I saw someone else say Devney Perry. Also, yeah, she has a lot of books as well. She would be a good one. I think I should add Jennifer Armentrout because she has like what seems like a million books nowadays. And I was keeping up with them for a while, but then I stopped, and now I am so far behind. So that would be another good one for me to add. Okay. For now, I'm going to leave it at Kristen Hannah because I'm not entirely sure who else I want to add and which of their books. So I think I need to do a little bit more research before I add anyone else. So we'll leave it there. Can you talk about your preferences and loves between the different planner layouts? Yes. I think I mentioned earlier, I'm using vertical this year and have previously used vertical in, I started introducing 2 layouts. I think, someone can correct me if they know more than I do, but I think it was in 2021. And I used vertical from that year up until 2 years ago, when I used the Novel Companion Ultra for the first time. And then last year I used the undated dashboard, and then now I'm back to vertical. So I haven't used horizontal since 2020. So that one I find, what I will say about weekly spreads is it's very personal preference based and how you use your planner. Because I used my planner for like work, personal, and books, I like having a little bit more room. That's why I've liked vertical, because I can split it into the 3 categories. Whereas with horizontal, if you really like to like journal, or you just want like the freedom of open space, like that one is really great. And dashboard, I would say, is really good if you want more of a weekly overview versus a day overview, because the weekly is, or the dashboard is really focused on like your week as a whole. You have less room on the dailies, but you've got like a whole page that's for like your week at a glance. So it really just depends on what your preference is. My preference, like I said, is for having things split. Although I will say I really, really loved using the dashboard layout last year. I was really torn this year on which one I was going to use. But because I hadn't used a dated in a long time, I wanted to give it another shot and kind of see how I felt about vertical after not using it for 2 years. I have a new Novel Companion Ultra coming very soon. I think within the next week it should be here, hopefully, after being delayed. And I have made some changes to that one, and I really like it, and I think it will do a lot of people. I think a lot of people might like it if they don't want a typical planner. So I was tempted to use that one again, but I just don't think I can get away from using weekly spreads. I just really love them. So yeah, like it's just personal preference, I think, and how you plan on using it. All right, what else did I say I was gonna do? This one we can do. So for my 25 books in 2025, I mentioned this when I was flipping through my planner earlier. I went on my Instagram and asked what book you thought I should read this year, and I took a whole bunch of those suggestions, and that's what we're going with. There's also a couple I added in just because they are books that I wanted to read last year but didn't, so they're also on my list. So I'm gonna add those in. I think I'm only gonna do the book titles, not the author names, just because I'll know what I'm talking about, and I think that's all that matters. So And I don't want to have to squeeze in author names. Yeah, that's what we're doing. In the undated version, you don't have this because it's year specific, but I do have a printable on my website if you want this one. Last year, I just made my own in my undated planner, so you could also do that. If you guys have already filled out your 25 books in 2025, what were your parameters of what made you pick the 25 books? Obviously had to start with One Dark Window because it was a book I meant to read last year and didn't, and it's also the first book club book. Last year, when I did the 24 books in 2024, my list was all books that I had on my shelf that I hadn't read yet, but I did not get very far. So I have learned that because I'm such a mood reader, that kind of system doesn't really work for me. So I decided to just go with random this year and see how far I get using this. $25 books that I already own. Seems like a lot of people are doing books that they've already owned or that you've been wanting to read for a long time. 25 books that were released last year. That's a fun one. Book of the month books that are on your shelves. That's also good. $25 and $25 were a combination of in-person book club, my outstanding book of the month book list, new releases, and books on my shelf. Yeah, mine is just a random combo as well. It's just, there's not really a lot of rhyme or reason. I have a list, like just scribbled on a piece of paper that I wrote down when I got my Instagram stories, and I was looking at this one and I thought I had written the same book twice because this book and this book both start with a fate. Then turns out they're different. I think the top like my first 6 books are all books that I meant to read last year and did not. Also, I'm really sorry if you can hear my computer fan. It's super loud right now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit this one. Oh, just. This next one was one of the options for our book club. It did not get selected, but I still wanted to read it, so I added it to the list. I was thinking for our book club that probably like later on in the year, we'll take all of the books that got second place and put them in a poll. I thought that'd be fun to give them like another shot. Actually, this one, Here One Moment, was also on the poll. And then this one has a book that a friend recommended last year that I never got around to. And then I think now we're getting into all of the ones that were suggested on Instagram. Which there were so many. I think I got like over 100 recommendations. So I usually just picked if it was recommended more than once. Or if it just sounded interesting to me. How can I join your book club? We're on Fable. It's called Always Fully Booked. I have a link in my Instagram. On my Instagram profile, there's a highlight called AFB Book Club, and you'll find a link in there. You can join it. It's gonna be really fun. This is the first time we've ever done it, so we're brand new and have no idea what we're doing. So, yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. Speaking of Kristen Hannah, I had to put the 4 wins on here because it was recommended on Instagram 3 times. I tried to pick a few different genres as well. I didn't want to just stick with one, so I got like some historical fiction, some romance, some fantasy. Just because I feel like the fun of picking 25 books is like to try new things. At least that's the way I look at it. So I want to like expand, try new things. Like if someone's recommending it to me, I feel like they really liked it, so I want to give it a shot. Spark of the Everflame was recommended like a ton, like I think 5 or 6 times. And then this next one is Lady Tan's Circle of Women. That was also recommended a bunch. Another long title. I just placed an order for, I think, like 5 or 6 of these pens so that I don't ever run out. I do go through them very quickly. So I always like to have one on hand. And this is my last one. From last year. Okay, so we've got 13 of our books. Flip it. This one, next one, was also recommended a bunch. Which is The Frozen River. A historical fiction. Totally forgot what pen is this. This is the Tombow brush pen in Hardknit. It was a follow-up to a series. Oh, yeah, no, I've read Dark Shade of Magic series already. Loved it. So I am excited for Fragile Threads of Power. That was one I meant to get to last year, but didn't. This next book I had never heard of, but it was recommended 4 times, I think. I honestly don't even know what it's about, but because it was recommended so many times, I thought I better give it a shot. And it is A Love Letter to Whiskey. And also another one I hadn't heard of is The Great Believers. But I thought the synopsis sounded really good. Then we have The Last Love Note. Which was recommended 3 times. And I had never heard of it, but it looks cute. Oh no. Mixing up titles. This is what I get for reading ahead. I'm so glad you guys agree that The Frozen River was good. That one was recommended like a ton. Alright, I need focus. The Last Love Note. Another one that was recommended quite a few times, and I have seen this one on TikTok a lot, which I'm sometimes hesitant to take TikTok recommendations because I have found I think we just have different preferences. But Metal Slinger was recommended a ton. Then we have the Foxglove King. This next one is one that I randomly had on my, I don't know where I heard of it. I had it on my, like, saved on my Storygraph as a book I wanted to read. But then also it was recommended on Instagram. So I thought it was kind of meant to be. And it's Notes on an Execution. And we have here we go again. Which I meant to read last year. She's Not Sorry, which is a like mystery thriller that I meant to read last year that I thought sounded interesting. Same with this next one, which is First Lie Wins. Also meant to read that last year. Two more. Got House of Flame and Shadow because I still haven't read it. Not that I'm in a huge rush because who knows when the next book will be out. Or maybe we do know, and I just am unaware. And then finally is a TikTok recommendation for Trial of the Sun Queen. Yes, the live will be saved to my YouTube channel, so you can watch it back. And there we go. 25 books ready for me to read. Can fill in my goal, which is 70 books. Typically, like last year, I colored in what my goal was. But I think this year I'm going to do a combo of coloring in the square for what the genre was and putting the format sticker on top. Because I saw someone color them in for genres and I thought that looked really pretty. But I also like tracking my format, so I think I'm going to do both. So I'm not going to color in the 70. We're going to try a new method. So that's all we're going to do on that one. I am all caught up on my page tracker. I've been rereading Fourth Wing because I wanted to start the year off with something that would like... After the holidays, I always have a hard time getting back into reading, and I was like swamped with work the last 3 weeks, so I haven't really been reading that much, and so I just wanted something that I knew would capture my attention. And also we have a new one coming out soon. So that's what I've been reading. And I'm almost done. I think I have like 100 pages left, so I'm hoping to finish it tonight. And can fill this in. I think last year was the first year we had these charts, this chart and this chart, actually in the planner, and I love having them in the planner. You guys probably know I'm like a data nerd, and having it all there in one chart was so nice. And it also made doing my pie charts super easy because the information was just all right there. I didn't really have to add anything else up. How many of you have already finished one or more books this year? As I mentioned earlier, I have not finished a book yet, which is totally fine. I think I saw someone the other day had already finished 3 books. Which I guess I would understand. Like if you were, I know a lot of people were off the last 2 weeks from work, so you may have a little bit more time on your hands. I have been the busiest that I think I've ever been the last 2 weeks, so I have had no time for reading. But I'm finally, I think, getting back to a place where I can read a little bit more. I guess I didn't say, I have an audiobook on the go, but I only listen to it when I walk or run, which I don't do every day. It's called Just Another Missing Person by Jillian McAllister, I think is her name. I'm listening to that on audio, and I read her other book, Wrong Place, Wrong Time, I think 2 years ago, and really enjoyed it. So I thought that this would be a good one to try. So I have 2 books on the go. Do you guys read a lot of different genres, or do you just stick to like kind of 1 or 2? I used to only read fantasy. Like that was pretty much it. Maybe the odd like contemporary book, but usually it was like only fantasy. It wasn't till the last couple of years that I really like branched out and tried other genres. And I'm so glad I did, because I have found some of my like favorite books of all time through reading different genres. But now I pretty much stick to, I do read the most romance now, followed by probably fantasy, and then mystery and thriller are usually tied. I don't read a ton of contemporary, and I only read like 1 or 2 nonfiction a year, but that's pretty much it for what I track for genres. We have I think I'll do the title later, but we can fill in the prompts maybe. I can remember where I wrote down the prompts that I wanted to do. Somewhere. I have so many like random pieces of paper. Okay, we found it. So I'll probably do this one and then I might wrap it up. And like I said before, I'd like to do this kind of thing like once a month. And hopefully that will encourage us all to like use our planners more. How do I want to do this? No, I'm going to hold off on this because I don't know how I want to do it yet. But we will ink this one a little bit. Do I have a storefront with my favorite pens and markers? Yes, I do. I will share that to my Instagram when I'm done on here, because I think I just recently added some of my like new ones, and then also, like I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a video going through all of my favorite pens in more detail. So I'll like explain a little bit more in that video, but I will share the link to my Amazon storefront. I've never done genre Tetris before, but I think it sounds really fun. And I think it could be like a fun printable. Like, do I turn this into a printable? What do you guys think? Do it this way. I just got some new pens in the mail today. Well, some is new and some isn't. But I still have to test one of them out, so I don't know if they're any good yet. But I got more jelly rolls because they're my favorite white gel pen, but this one has 3 different sizes. I usually use this middle one, which is the 08. But I've never tried the other sizes, so I thought I would get a pack. And then I also got this pack of like fine liners, but it also has a brush pen in it that I'm curious about. So I'm going to test these out and see how I like them. So I'll report back on how those go. Adulting Tetris. Oh, that would be fun. had to draw the Tetris logo in pencil first, but it's still not exact. If I turn this into a printable, I'll try and do a little bit better job on the title. In terms of if we continue this live plan with me, which I thought has been a lot of fun, does this time of day work for you guys? Because I want to make sure I'm doing a time that works for the most number of people, being aware that it won't work for everyone. But I figured we could kind of commit to a once a month thing. And then because they'll be saved to my channel, you can always go back and watch them if you can't make it. But I feel like this is a pretty decent time. I'm currently missing my football game, but that is okay. This is a lot more fun. I feel like typically I think Sundays would be the day that it would be, just because I like to keep Saturdays for my family. So a Sunday afternoon is kind of the best time. That also works for me, but I can be a little bit flexible if I need to be. But I feel like this time is good. Like someone said, it's a cozy Sunday planning sesh, and I think that's a perfect way to describe it. Also gonna work a little bit on my setup, because I need to get a better mount for my phone for recording, because this one can be a little bit wobbly sometimes. I'm going to do these Tetris pieces in the key with a black outline, but I don't know if I'll do the black outline on the actual Tetris mat. I kind of just want them to be like separate on the side, a little bit more bold. Kind of also toying around with when I actually put them on. Maybe I should make them like double height, or like double the size that they are. Otherwise, like, I'm gonna be like to here by the end of the year, because I don't actually read that much. So it's something we'll have to play around with. feel like I still have so much left to do to set up my planner. But the good thing, I just realized I missed the line. Good thing is that I have forever to set it all up. It doesn't all have to be done. I think last year I didn't finish setting up my planner until like mid-February or something. Which is a way to, like, if you struggle with like starting strong in the year and not finishing strong, taking your time to set up your planner is something that worked for me, but also I think it's just a habit that you have to build like any other habit. It takes time to like make it a part of your day or week or however often you want to plan. It's not going to just like happen. You have to be intentional about it in the beginning until it becomes that habit for you. So far, I'm really enjoying these markers, though. Always fun to find a new planner supply. Okay. Alright, I think I will leave the title as is for now because I'm not entirely sure what colors I want to do just yet. So I think I'm going to finish it here and wrap it up. If you guys have any last minute questions or things you want to see in the planner, let me know. And I will show you. Otherwise, I have really enjoyed our time together, and I hope that you'll show up for the next one again. It's really fun to like chat, and it makes working in your planner seem like a fun thing to do. You can like kind of have friends to chat with as you work on it. So I really hope that we can keep this going, and I need you guys to help me be accountable to doing this. So don't be afraid to like remind me on Instagram, because sometimes I get really busy that I just kind of put it in the back of my mind. So let me know. It will probably be sometime February where I want to do the next one. But yeah, thank you for spending your Sunday afternoon or whatever time frame this was for you. I really appreciate you guys showing up, and it's been really fun to do it with you guys. I think it's like a fun way for me to like connect with you guys with the planner, and just it's fun to know that we're all like kind of doing it together and talking about books and challenges and stuff like that. So I really appreciate all of you guys showing up and being here. Yes, I can show the health tracker one last time. I haven't put the title in yet, so just ignore that. But I have a health tracker, and I have a fitness tracker, rate my day, and a weather tracker for every day. This is printable. as well as the bingo that I showed is also a printable, and the 25 books in 2025 is a printable. And I think I have a couple others on there as well. So go check out the printables if you are curious. I think I might turn that genre Tetris into a printable sometime this week. So be on the lookout for that as well. But yeah, I think that is everything. Once again, thank you for hanging out with me. I had a lot of fun and I really appreciate all of you. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in our next